6. Middle of the winter, I pull up in a vert. It's the middle of December, she pulled up in a skirt. Santa Claus of the hood, I pull up with the work. They call me East Atlanta Santa, when up on me get murked. I'm just trapping through the snow, selling 9 heifer bricks in 4 ways.
Ho, 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 boys and girls and everybody that is in between. It is Heem Saint Brick and Merry Christmas. Now, some of you might say, who the fuck is Heem Saint Brick? You might not know me as Heem Saint Brick, but you will know my father, East Atlanta Santa himself. And today I want to welcome you to WhyHeem, my YouTube channel where I talk about anime and things of that nature. And today we got a Christmas special, the Christmas Goblins of Greed, where I introduce you to 3 individuals that are supposed to be your motivation to give and not receive this Christmas holiday. I'm just gonna stop wasting time. I'm gonna get into the first person that we will introduce today. Our first Goblin of Greed for this video is Eddie from Ed, and Eddie. Eddie is a slimy, egotistical, and most importantly, greedy dickhead that has no concept of the idea of morals. And this dickhead of a kid that you watched when you was younger actually grew up to be Elon Musk, which should show you that Eddie is an example of what happens to you when you sacrifice friends and family just for a bag. With our first example being when Eddie finessed Ed out of his sister's money to get Jawbreakers. But before we keep going on that point, look at this motherfucker. Look at the greed seething through his body. Look at this big ass Jawbreaker that's bigger than his fucking cranium. But guess what? For the sake of sugar, for the sake of greed, he will sit there and risk his own health. And sadly, Eddie did swallow it, where it would end up getting stuck in his chest and he would have to live the rest of his life with it. This motherfucker's built like a bird cage. This motherfucker's built like a Roblox character. This motherfucker's built like a box TV. This motherfucker's built like a defective transformer. I couldn't even imagine he could sleep chest down because his face would never touch the pillow. They usually only find men with a chest this big on casting couch. That's my I should have made that last joke. I'm sorry. But as we keep moving on, Eddie didn't stop there at the Jawbreakers, because Sarah, when she found out, was ready to beat their ass. And as we know about Sarah in Ed and Eddie, she can beat some ass. So Eddie decided that he needs to get that money back any way he can. So Eddie's idea was to hang his friends up, especially Ed, by his shitty ass drawers, and charge people $1/4 to hit these motherfuckers like human pinatas and say whatever falls out you can keep. Well, the only thing that fell down was Ed and his dookie stained ass drawers, sacrificing your friends' dignity for the sake of quarters. My brother in Christ,
just take the ass whooping.
But greed will never allow you to do that. And I can say straight up, this is a crime. But Judge Heem doesn't work on Christmas, so Eddie gets off on this one. Now, thankfully, by the end of the episode, Eddie ended up being a human pinata himself, and he got his ass beat, and it all worked out well. But I'll go ahead and move us to the next one of Eddie / Professor Scam going up against Johnny / Melonhead, where Johnny now turns into a superhero just to stop Eddie's scams. I just want to talk about Eddie's plan to trap Melonhead, where Eddie, instead of sitting there saying, maybe I need to chill out a little bit, or maybe I should talk to Melonhead. No, he decides to come up with a fake BBL scheme, a trap, if you will, for Melonhead, where he provided different sizes, weights, and different types of fake BBLs. And to even sell the trap, had Double D be his first customer walking around with a fake BBL. Look at the time and the creativity he put into this shit, when he could put this time and creativity into a fucking job or not scamming. He could do that very easily. But Eddie decides, nah, fuck that. I'ma sell these BBLs. I'ma catch Melonhead. And crazy enough, he still ended up losing, because that's what Eddie is a fucking loser. The reason why I had to show this one is to show the extent in which the greed will take him, because it leads me right into the last example, where I don't even know what Eddie did in that last movie to end the series, where the whole town was in disarray. Literally, in this movie, they don't describe anything. All you really know is Eddie did a scam that fucked up the city and everybody in that bitch so bad that everybody was in critical condition, but also were fully bloodlusted. So now that the 3 Eds are actually in danger for their lives, they have to leave the cul-de-sac. Now you might say, Mr. Saint Brick, you don't even know what he did. But I will say straight up, if I did figure out what he did, I couldn't imagine it's much further off from what I'm thinking right now. Because these children were chewing wood, breaking doors. They were doing anything they possibly could do to kill this motherfucker. Do you know how bad of a situation you had to cause for that to be okay in somebody's eyes? That's why Eddie will be our first Christmas goblin of greed. But as I move on to the next one, I will have to remind you, do you know that 28% of king penguins partake in homosexual activity? Now, did I have a reason to tell you that? No, but I just want to make you uncomfortable. Let's move to the next one, which will be Kakuzu from Naruto. Kakuzu found a way to be monetarily greedy as fuck in a world where money don't even matter for real. Like in Naruto, yeah, I guess it does because you need to buy like, you know, necessities and resources. You can buy luxuries and shit. I'm just assuming Kakuzu's not buying designer fits, jewelry, and ho-ho-hos, if you know what I mean. I just don't think that's in his heart for real, or his 4 hearts. I forgot how many he has. So realistically, Kakuzu is hoarding the money. He has dreams about the money. He holds his money at night like a child with a teddy bear for no fucking reason. But even with the little amount of true value that money had, Kakuzu still decided it was enough to put a motherfucking dirt for it. And even decided to take people's hearts to extend his own life, to do nothing all fucking day. Kakuzu was partaking in evil shenanigans to feed his money addiction for the love of the game, like a true dickhead. And even decided to join a terrorist group for the simple fact that they were killing strong shinobi, so that he can get those shinobi and get a better bag. But understand that Kakuzu, even after realizing that he's got to pay for shit, stayed operating at a loss. Do you think them designer cloaks were free? Fuck no, they were custom. Do you think them rings right there were for free? They're custom. Who you think paid for their fucking makeup? Who? You think Itachi know how to do makeup like that? Fuck no, he's not no esthetician. Kakuzu had to pay for all of that shit, and he still stayed for the sake of potentially making more bread. That's all this motherfucker slightly cared about, was the bag. And that's why Kakuzu is our second goblin of greed. And to lead us out, I'm gonna play a quote from Kakuzu that really encapsulates who he is all in one.
The only thing you can have faith in is yourself. You're wrong. The only thing you can have faith in is money sweeter than honey. Money, money, this money, that profit will make me wallet fat.
Yes, Mr. Krabs, the head of the tomfoolery that goes on at the Krusty Krab, who only has to pay 2 employees but complains about it all the goddamn time. Yes, Mr. Krabs is the encapsulation of what greed literally is. And the thing about Mr. Krabs is there are so many examples of him being an absolutely all-time level greedy dickhead that I couldn't even sit here and explain them all. So instead, I got this paper and I'm gonna list these bitches off, and I'm gonna try to get to as many as I possibly can. Honestly, I forgot some shit because genuinely I don't see how I could name everything. He's awful. Sorry. To get us started, we have charged Squidward $1 for breathing, 5 for talking, 10 for standing, 2 for existing, 2 for lollygagging, and 1 for chewing. Sold SpongeBob for 62 cents, made a nigga unwatch a movie, charged people for using the bathroom even after they bought food, forced SpongeBob to sell moldy black patties, not because they didn't have good ones, but for literally no fucking reason. Chased a penny miles away from the Krusty Krab, deadass sold trash to people, went into deadly waters in a little ass boat to catch $1, charged more for kids meals because it's summertime, threatened to break a motherfucker's arm off for a penny, made a factory with a crazy amount of human rights and animal rights violations just for the sake of jellyfish jelly. Last one, made a newspaper to willingly spread misinformation just so he can ruin people's lives for bags. Man, that is awful. The fuck? Hold on, I'm sorry, I got a text. Oh, there's more. All right. And he said to make sure you don't forget, sold SpongeBob a hat from a dead dude, stole a pearl from a clam, which is literally stealing a baby from its mother, used Gary as a magnet for coins, sold motherfuckers yellow rotten ass patties, and pretty much turned them into zombies, sold grease on the plate, and refused to give Squidward his paycheck for the month because they were down $3. Wow, what an awful person. mean, just a classically awful, greedy son of a bitch. But congratulations to our third and final Goblin of Greed with Mr. Krabs, and let these three be a lesson that you need to be in the spirit of giving, because greed only drives you to a situation where a whole cul-de-sac is trying to murder you, or you join a terrorist group and fund all of their endeavors, or you run a restaurant where you abuse not just the customers, your employees, but also yourself for the sake of a bag. So this Christmas gift, you don't need to receive. I lied like a bitch, but you need to care about giving. There we go. But that's the end of the video. Like, share, subscribe. Let me know what else we need to do on this page. Also, go tell a very Merry Christmas to my editor, and I want people to spam hi in his comment sections because he's amazing. And for our outro question, tell me the worst present that you have ever received in your life. But I'll tell a very small story about mine. I received Mario Kart on the DS, and all of my cousins decided to play it with me, and they beat my ass for hours. They never let me win a single time that whole Christmas. But peace and Merry Christmas once again. Bye, people.